Hello, Jean. Hello, Marcel. What I usually do with these pajama strings. I hope that I would encourage more pajama wearing, but okay. You got some nice sweats over there. That's nice. Okay, what? Let's go ahead and start here. We'll do this with glasses. Welcome everybody to the Wednesday night class on loving kindness. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you tonight. Hello to everybody online. So we have Brian and Linda, and Jean and Marcel. Hello to you all. Can I get a show of hands? Is there anybody new to the Dharma Bum Temple? This is your first time at Dharma Bum Temple? Oh, wow. How did you find out about us? Oh, did your friend bring you? Oh, awesome. And your friend brought you? Nice, wonderful. Hello, thank you for that. Is there anyone who is not new to the Dharma Bum Temple, but maybe this is your first time to a Wednesday class? Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. This is the class on loving kindness. We're going to do a meditation on loving kindness. And loving kindness is, an integral part of Buddhist practice. It's the first of the 4 heart practices, and or the divine abodes, and it is the one that's important to get right because it's the foundation of all of the other ones. And I kind of hesitate to say get it right because we're all in progress, or get it as right as you can, or it's important that you perfect this as much as you can. And to understand really how important this is, there's a whole sutra dedicated to loving kindness. And it wouldn't be a Wednesday class if we didn't hear the police helicopter. So it's just a normal thing. It's like every Wednesday, and I kind of expect it. So I don't even notice it anymore. So I would like you to read, before we go any further, the Buddha's words on loving kindness. And this speaks to a lot about how we do this practice and how we live our lives as well. And this is relatively short. It says, "This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Isn't that beautiful? And there's literally so much to unpack in this sutra. And, when first reading this, a lot of people talk about, well, this is how you do the loving kindness practice, like the seated practice. And there is a seated practice, and we're going to do a seated practice. But what the Buddha talks about is your entire waking life, because he says whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, and those are the four possible positions of meditation, and those are the four kind of possible things that you do throughout your entire day. So it's a complete life practice, not just a seated practice. And you can practice this at any time during the day, as long as you want during the day, not just lying down. And one of the other things that I liked about what it said was peaceful and calm and wise and skillful. And so the last two parts of that, wise and skillful, is a practice. It is a practice. It is a series of trial and error and making mistakes and doing some actions and watching the results, and then based on those results, compensating or doing something different until you do it so that to the point where you're not causing harm to yourself or another person. That's wise and skillful. Happiness, my teacher taught, is a skill. Everything that we do is a skill. Our actions, the way we act, the way we think, the words that come out of our mouth is a skill. We practice saying the right thing, and we screw up a lot, but we learn from that. And we hope we learn from that. And that's why, one of the many reasons I love this practice is just because we're not expected to be perfect. I'm not expecting perfection from you. You shouldn't be expecting perfection from yourselves. I shouldn't be expecting perfection from myself. And that kind of runs counter to how we're conditioned. It kind of flies in the face of how most of us are conditioned. Because we think we have to be perfect in everything that we do, or we're not doing it right. I don't know why my helicopter is making me laugh, but yeah. And I think that I just kind of think about even all the ways today that I kind of lost my temper a little bit, or got frustrated, or something like that. And, kind of what I do now is every time that happens, I stop myself and say, look at the way that you're behaving. And I don't beat myself up about it anymore. I just say to myself, oh yeah, you could have been a little bit better there. And I forgive myself, because this anger and this frustration only causes suffering for me when I get this way. Because no one else is hearing it. I'm usually in my car yelling at somebody or something, or getting upset about something. Or in my house by myself, getting upset about something. And every time that happens, this kind of self-forgiveness seems to happen. And when this self-forgiveness kind of happens, I feel at ease. I still learn, and I still think to myself, yeah, I could have done better, but I don't beat myself up because of it. And this loving kindness practice, there's this wonderful forgiveness aspect to it. Especially if you're doing this for a neutral person or an enemy or something like that. And this practice just says that, this kind of forgiveness practice just says that, hey, I'm not going to continue to go back and forth with my enemy with all this hate and animosity. I'm just going to let it go to the best of my ability. That's what I'm going to do. So much there that I really like. So we're going to do this practice of loving kindness. Has anyone never done loving kindness practice before? Okay, good. So you get to hear my speech. And so for the people online, a few people raised their hand and said, hey, I've never done this before. Hi, Marisa. Okay. And so, traditionally, when we do loving kindness practice, or how it's taught in the West, we usually start with ourselves and then go to what we call a benefactor or a loved one. And then we go to a neutral person, and then we go to the enemy, and then we do it for all beings in all directions. And the thinking is that it's easiest to do or have loving kindness for myself, so I'm going to do that first. So that way, I can have all this loving kindness in my heart for my benefactor, which is the second easiest, supposedly. And then the neutral person, and we're getting a little further away from our heart every time, and then the neutral person, and then, the enemy. And when we do it for the enemy, we do it for the small enemy, the person who's only a little annoying to us. Not a lot annoying, not like our mortal enemy. If we have a mortal enemy. But just the minor annoyances. And we kind of start small. So that doesn't really work in the West, by and large. Not for everybody, but by and large, that doesn't work in the West. Because that assumption that we have loving kindness for ourselves, and that's the easiest part of the practice, doesn't work in the West. Because we're not conditioned that way to have this love for ourselves. Real love, real kindness for ourselves. It's usually the hardest. And usually when we go to the enemy and have loving kindness for the enemy, even though I say, don't go for the mortal enemy, they go for the mortal enemy. They just do it. They just go for that mortal enemy. And it's just our conditioning makes us do this for whatever reason. Right? And I think it's because, part of it is, we hear about, Buddhist practice, and we hear about enlightenment, and the Buddha was enlightened, and that's what we want. And even though, in many of the sutras, it promises us enlightenment if we do these particular things. And in one of the sutras, it says, even if you do this practice for 7 days, at first it says 7 years. It goes, no, not even 7 years, 7 months. No, not even 7 months, 7 weeks. No, not even 7 weeks, 7 days. And so they hear something like that, and that's what they want. They go for it, because that's what we do, right? We just go for it. We have so much suffering and we just want to get rid of all of it. And I talked a little bit about this last week about Meditators Disease. And Meditators Disease happens when we do this, when we just kind of go all out and just meditate and meditate and meditate and meditate. And because we think that we can get enlightened in this lifetime, and we want to get enlightened in this lifetime, and we just kind of go for it. We go for broke, right? Which is kind of another way that we're taught here in the West. Just do it. Just do it. Go for it. Go big or go home. We all go big, right? And we get Meditators Disease, and it has, which is a real thing, and it has, like there's headaches, migraines, and all sorts of other kind of physical ailments that come with that. And the thing about that is that usually we see Meditators Disease with Western-born monastics, Western-born monks and nuns, who have the time, usually have more time than we do to meditate, right? And which is really, really interesting, because in the East, where Buddhists, in a Buddhist country where you kind of grow up Buddhist and you kind of learn everything from an early age and you learn really slowly, they don't have any of this stuff, because they know that, yes, I know what the Buddha says you can do it in this lifetime, but we know from a practical aspect that it's going to take a few lifetimes. It's gonna take a few lifetimes. We know it's not going to probably happen in this life. Not with the circumstances I was born in, and not kind of how I'm doing right now. And so they're all playing the long game. They're all doing just what they can do now, purifying their own heart and purifying their own mind, just a little bit at a time, drop by drop. The water fills the bucket. And they know it's not going to get full in one lifetime, and that's okay with them. And, so it should be okay with us too. Because we're kind of actually starting at a disadvantage for these people. So go slowly. The way we're actually going to do this practice is not kind of the way that I was talking about. We're just going to do it for our benefactor first. And then we're going to imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And then we're going to do it for ourselves. So we're going to prime the pump the first couple of times, and then we're going to do it for ourselves. And then we're going to do it for all beings. And then so I'm going to guide it. So I'll give all the instructions in the guiding. Any questions before we start? Yeah, go ahead. Huh?
Who is a benefactor?
Oh, really good question. What is a benefactor? Who is a benefactor? A benefactor, another word for that is like a loved one. It is someone who has shown us great love, great compassion, great kindness. Many times it's like, like a mother or father, brother or sister, or a good friend. It can even be someone on TV that you like. They could be living, they could be not living. It's up to you. So this should be someone who it's really easy to have these wonderful feelings for. You just think of this person as like, yeah. So, do you understand? Okay, good. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. All right. Okay. No one online has anything. I can see you online pretty well. All right. One the interesting thing I was talking to Jeff about before we start this meditation was like, when we just did this class online, we had a certain amount of people who would show up, a certain number, and now that we're doing class in person, there's people here, but the same number of people online. I love it. All right. Any more questions before we start? All right, here we go. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that position, that seated position that's nice and comfortable for you, nice and sustainable so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment. The Buddha had his tree, the Bodhi tree. You can have whatever kind of tree that you want because each Buddha has their own kind of tree. Ready for the task at hand. So to begin, let's just get connected to the breath. Let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. At first, not forcing the breath, letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural. Focusing on your breath at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. Or focusing on the belly or the chest, feeling its expansion and contraction as you breathe. I'll be giving instructions and just let my words just kind of wash over you. The instructions will be really simple. Just for the next couple of minutes, let's get connected to the breath and just breathe in and breathe out. Feeling the air and feeling the energy of the breath. So to begin our practice of loving kindness, we're going to start with our benefactor. And again, a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love, who has shown us great kindness, we naturally have these wonderful feelings for them when we think of them. So just call this person to mind, and we're just going to radiate loving kindness to them. And however you understand that word radiate, however you want to radiate loving kindness to them, it's fine. I picture a beam of loving kindness going from my heart to theirs, and they're smiling and they're looking down at me with this wonderful loving gaze. But you do you. However you want to do it is fine. Again, like the sutra says, wishing in gladness and in safety, may you be at ease. May you be happy. Loving kindness is simply just a wish to be happy and a wish for people to do the things that cause happiness. And we wish this for our benefactor. And we'll do this for the next few moments. If you get distracted, that's okay. Just take a deep breath and get connected with the breath again. You can focus again on your benefactor. So you'll always have about 25% of your attention on the breath, staying grounded and connected to the breath while still doing your practice. And now shifting our focus a little bit from doing this practice for our benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. And it could be the same benefactor, it could be a different one, it's up to you. And you're going to imagine them just radiating loving kindness to you, giving you all of their loving kindness. Your only job is to receive this loving kindness into your own heart. You can even put your hand over your heart to see if you can feel this loving kindness from your benefactor. If you feel any resistance of any kind, that's okay. Can you breathe into that resistance? Maybe loosening it and giving it some space. You're still smiling when you can, remember. So for the next few moments, we'll imagine our benefactor doing this practice of loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, and goodwill for us. We just receive all of it. And now shifting our focus again to, now let's sing if we can have loving kindness for ourselves and do this practice for us. So first, just call to mind your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be safe, your own wish to be healthy, your own wish to be protected, free from danger. These other people, especially your benefactors, want this for you. So now you can do this practice for you too. And you can either just kind of imagine your heart getting bigger as you wish loving kindness for yourself, or you can even repeat phrases for yourself. Phrases like, may I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. Just repeat one of the phrases or two, or something that you can remember easily. It's okay. So for the next few moments, we'll just do this practice of metta, unconditional friendliness and goodwill, this practice of loving kindness for ourselves. finally, we can begin to explore this limitless quality of the heart by doing this practice for all beings in all directions. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at ease. And you can just radiate loving kindness just as far out as you can go. The Buddha said there's no limit. You can do this practice for all beings in all directions. Upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths. Outwards and unbounded. May all beings be at ease. And we'll finish this practice with this metta for all beings. your eyes when you're ready. And just take the next moment or two out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. All while keeping those thoughts of loving kindness about you. Stretch it any way you want to. We'll begin here probably in like 60 seconds. Okay, oh my goodness. So, that was our loving, kind of one way to do a loving kindness meditation. You'll notice that I didn't do anything with the neutral person or the enemy. That was on purpose. Generally speaking, we don't need to deal with them right now. I'm a firm believer in that, relatively firm. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. So, and even the people online, if anyone has any questions about the instructions, or that'd be fine. And if you want to talk about anything about you experienced in meditation, we can talk about that too. We have a few minutes left in class. I'll start with myself, which was really something that was really weird and hardly happens anymore, but it happened a big way this time. And my leg got, like this right leg here got really numb, and it hurt like a lot. And so the training is, well, you just acknowledge it without a lot of suffering. And then you try to like breathe into that, and maybe you can loosen it up a little bit. And so I did all of those things, and it wasn't working. It just really, really hurt. And I'm a relatively experienced meditator who sits like this when he meditates, like pretty much every single time. And for some reason, my leg got really, really sore. And I remember just a lot of anxiety came up about that. Not a lot of anxiety, but some anxiety. And so I just finally said to myself, well, if it hurts that bad, just go like this. And so the blood flows back into your leg. And the other part of me goes, no, but I'm the instructor. I shouldn't be doing that. I should just be, sitting perfectly still like I'm supposed to. And so not only did my leg hurt even more, but then I got this thing in the back of my throat where I started to cough. That was worse. and then it's like, okay, so go ahead, go like this. That's fine. Take care of that thing with your throat, because the thing in my throat wasn't the thing in my throat. The thing in my throat was just, like another kind of manifestation of like kind of anxiety. But it's okay as the instructor just to do this if my leg gets tired, and that's okay. And it's okay for anybody else too if you need to move. It's perfectly okay to move. And then I did this for a little while, and I put my leg back, and everything was fine, and the thing in my throat just kind of went away, and everything was hunky-dory. but it's really interesting. There's this book I'm reading now, which I find immensely fascinating. And it talks about, for anyone who's ever experienced trauma in their life, and it talks about how the things that we've gone through in life, we don't think is trauma, but it's trauma. And if we don't kind of acknowledge it and take care of it, many times it manifests in our body as some sort of physical ailment or something. And it calls, the name of the book is called The Body Keeps the Score. Has anybody heard of that?
I'm reading right now.
Yep, doing that right now.
Right now.
Wild.
Yes.
That was a wild book. And so, as someone who's experienced that, it's most definitely eye-opening. And so, if you haven't read that, reading suggestion. But anyway, when I was doing all that kind of like this and the throat, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, sure, I get that now. So it's all coming together. So anybody have any questions? Anybody have any comments? Anybody want to tell me about your experience of meditation, whether here or any of you very good online folks? I can read from here. That's okay. Yes, ma'am.
I had the same thing. I felt like I had to itch my shoulder or something, and then I'm like, okay, do I itch my shoulder or just ignore it? So I was, and then I heard you coughing, and then I was kind of.
Well, if he can cough, I can scratch my itch, right?
No, I was wishing you well.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Maybe that's why it stopped. I appreciate that. Thank you. But that's kind of that's wonderful that you say that, because it's kind of like a byproduct of practice. You see somebody in distress, and you may not be able to do anything about it, but you can wish them well. You can wish them goodwill. That's the thing I love about this practice. There's this thing called like on-the-spot metta. That you can, whenever you're driving down the street, you see an accident, you can say, may you be well. I don't know what's going on, but whomever is in that accident, may you be well. May you be unharmed. You can see a homeless person on the street, same thing. Or in whatever situation that where there's a lot going on in the world that you can do this practice for. That you see. You don't have to wait until you're sitting in meditation. You can do it right now. And I love that kind of flexibility. So it's like, anyone do practice loving kindness? Yes, like all the time. All the time. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I haven't been here in a year and a half.
Welcome back.
I miss you, I miss the temple, I miss Meadow. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's wonderful to hear that. I missed it too, and it's one of the things when I was doing this class online that was really, really hard was that I couldn't see anybody. I couldn't see their faces. I mean, I don't see most of your faces now, but you're here. Your physical presence here helps a lot. And the people who still want to just do this from home, I absolutely understand. That makes perfect sense. That you want to, kind of maintain that kind of safety, and especially what's going on right now, I totally get that. But just to see people again and to interact with people live again, even for an introvert like myself, is so wonderful. I'm so grateful for that. So thank you all for being here. It's wonderful to have you here. It's still wonderful to see the people online. Hello, everybody. And that's it. So if there's nothing else, that's okay. Let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that we are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you next time. I love you all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marisa. Thank you, guys. See you later. Love you guys.